Hey there, welcome back to my kitchen. If you're new around here, hi, my name is Mel. I love to share cooking videos on this channel, and I just share what I make for me and my husband throughout the week. I am by no means a professional, but I do really just love to cook. In today's video, we are making 3 marinade recipes. All of these are super easy and perfect for this time of year when there's plenty of grilling out and get-togethers. Today's video was actually supposed to have a 4th recipe, however I deleted it after I filmed it by accident, so I am still going to link it below for you because it did turn out really good. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started and I will show you how to make these marinades. Starting off today, we are making this honey mustard pork chop marinade. To begin, I just have my gallon-sized bag here. I'm adding in 4 medium thickness pork chops. You could also use some thicker ones or thinner ones. The cook time just might change a little. Then I'm adding in 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, 2 tablespoons of coconut aminos, or you can use soy sauce, but I think coconut aminos are just a little bit sweeter. And then you'll add in 2 tablespoons of honey, 3 tablespoons of honey mustard, and then the last thing you're going to add is about a half teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 to a half teaspoon of pepper. If you add too much pepper, it could come off a little bit spicy, so just keep that in mind. You can always add more salt and pepper when it's all done when you're eating if you need to. Remove as much of the air out of the bag as possible and then start mixing everything together. I made this marinade about 6 in the morning, so this stayed in my fridge until about 4 p.m. so it got about 10 hours of time to marinate. And then once it was getting closer to dinner, I wanted to go ahead and show you what I was going to make on the side of these pork chops as well. This is a very easy side dish that I love making. It does not require a ton of ingredients. You'll need about 8 to 10 red potatoes. I do have 1 small russet potato here. I figured I would just go ahead and use that one up in here. With these, you'll just want to cut them into bigger chunks and then add them into a pot of water, and you're going to boil those until they are fork tender. In the back there, you can also see I have some Italian style green beans going. I just added in some butter to those, and one of my favorite all-purpose seasonings. I will link it down below for you. Into my big cast iron skillet, I went ahead and added some avocado oil in there. And then once it heated up, I added all 4 of my pork chops in here, and I'm cooking these over a pretty high heat right now because I want the outside to get some nice color on it. I let them cook on the first side for about 1 minute, and then I flipped them over and I let them cook on a high heat for another minute, and then I turned the heat down to a medium heat until the pork chops were hitting 145 degrees. Now that the potatoes are done boiling, you can go ahead and take them back over to your stovetop, and you're going to add in about 3 to 4 tablespoons of butter. Mix the butter in so that it can melt and cover the potatoes nicely, but with this you do want to be careful not to smash the potatoes, so you want to make sure that you are folding it together. This is one of those recipes where there is really no recipe, so you're just going to add in some garlic powder, plenty of salt and pepper, and some parsley to give it some color. Give it a mix together, give it a taste, see if the seasonings need to be adjusted, and then it's all done. Here is what my finished plate looked like in the end. As you can see, I have some nice color on that pork chop there. I cooked them right to 145 degrees so they would still be nice and juicy inside. And then alongside we have those buttered red potatoes and the Italian style green beans. I love making chicken fajitas, and I tried this chicken fajita recipe a few months ago and we absolutely loved it, so I'm going to share it with you. I will link the original recipe down below for you though. into a gallon-sized bag. I'm just using my little bag holder here to help me hold it up. I do have those linked down below as well. You'll need to add 3 to 4 tablespoons of a high-quality olive oil, 1/4 cup of lime juice, 1/4 cup of water, a big tablespoon of minced garlic, 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika, 1 tablespoon of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of cayenne, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of oregano, 2 teaspoons of brown sugar, half a teaspoon of cumin, half a teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and then 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. You can leave those red pepper flakes out if you want to, since the cayenne already makes this a little bit spicy. Or if you don't like spicy in general, then cut down on the cayenne pepper. Now I'm just getting that all mixed together, and then into this same bag I'm going to add in 2 chicken breasts that I cut into strips. Just like when you make regular fajitas, you want to get that chicken cut into smaller pieces, that way it can fit nicely in your wraps. Go ahead and remove all the air from the bag and get this mixed up really well. Again, I made this one about 6 o'clock in the morning, and it sat in my fridge until about 4 p.m. Now before we get started cooking the chicken, this is hours later of course, I'm going to go ahead and cut up 1 red bell pepper just into little strips, along with 1 orange bell pepper and 1 yellow onion. Moving on to the chicken, in my big cast iron skillet, I'm going to empty the entire bag in here, all of the marinade, all of the chicken, everything. The chicken shouldn't take a super long time to cook. I think mine took about 8, maybe 10 minutes. I did have to use my meat thermometer to tell if the chicken was all the way done though, just because it was red, so it was kind of hard to tell if it was fully cooked. Once the chicken's done, I'm going to go ahead and remove it into a separate bowl. Be sure to leave all of that liquid still in the pan, because now you're going to add your peppers and onion in there, and you're going to cover the pepper and onion with that sauce, and they're going to cook in there for about 10 to 12 minutes until they are nice and tender and all of the liquid has disappeared out of the pan. Once they're ready, go ahead and add the chicken back in at this point. As you can see, there is no liquid left in the pan. Get this all mixed together, give the chicken a second to kind of warm back through, and then it's ready to go. Here's what my finished plate looked like. I like to add cheese and sour cream into mine, just some Mexican style cheese, sour cream, and sometimes I'll add hot sauce, but since this was a little spicy, I did go ahead and skip the hot sauce. And then on the side there, I just made some Mexican cheesy rice. And now we're making this Dijon mustard tenderloin marinade. So for this one, you can either grill it outside or cook it in the oven. For me, it was way too hot here, so I went ahead and just preheated my oven to 400 degrees. With your tenderloin, you do want to make sure that you remove the silver skin off the side of it. This one here, I had not done that yet, but for the one that I am cooking today, as you can see, I went ahead and pulled that off. I went ahead and added the tenderloin into a gallon-sized bag, and then into the same bag, you're going to add a 1/4 cup of olive oil and a 1/4 cup of Dijon mustard. This recipe does come out pretty mustardy, so if you are not a Dijon mustard fan, you may not like this one. Then I added in 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, and then you'll just be adding in a 1/2 teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. Remove the air from the bag and then get this combined as well as you can. On this evening, I actually got a late start on dinner, so this marinated in my fridge for about 12 hours, which also made it so I was running out of time to get dinner done and just running behind in the evening. When you go to cook this, like I said, you can either grill it or cook it in the oven, but before you put it in the oven, it is really nice to go ahead and sear the outside for a few minutes on a high heat. I just did not have time to do that this night, so I went ahead and just added it to my baking sheet here with some foil, and I'm going to fold the foil up on the edges, that way no juices can leak off and make a mess in my oven. But if you do want to sear this, just sear it on each side on a high heat for just a minute or two. You do not want to cook it all the way through, just get some good color on it, and then you can proceed with this step here. I stuck this in my oven and it cooked for about 22 to 25 minutes. And now I'm going to share another little side dish that I have been a little obsessed with lately. I like to add about a tablespoon of butter into a skillet along with some broccolini. I will cook this broccolini over a medium-high heat, sprinkling it with just a little bit of garlic powder, salt, and pepper to taste. You are basically just going to kind of saute this in this pan until it gets some good color to it. I like mine to be almost charred, but it is really good this way. So if you've never tried it like this, I definitely encourage you to. That little bit of burnt taste is actually really good. And if you don't like yours to be quite so dark, then just take them out a little earlier. For the pork tenderloin, you just want to make sure that the thickest part reaches 145 degrees. And then once it's at that temperature, it's good to go. I let mine rest for about 10 minutes before cutting into it. When you cut into it, you should see a little bit of pink. That is normal. Even though it's a little bit pink, it is still cooked all the way through as long as it's at 145. So don't panic if you see a little bit of pink. Here is what my finished plate looked like in the end. With the pork tenderloin and the broccolini, I also made just a little bit of potato wedges in my air fryer. I kept these sides really nice and easy, and this dinner actually comes together very quickly. As you can see, that meat is still super juicy. It was super tender. The only thing is, like I said earlier, if you are not a Dijon mustard fan, you may not like this one. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Don't forget to leave me a flower down in the comments below if you did make it all the way through today's video, and I will see you back here on Sunday for a new one. Bye!